Especially seeing as the title of the session is pretty ambiguous. PT with purpose, right? Lacks a lot of specificity. Lacks a certain amount of detail that some of you are probably craving at the moment. Those of you that have been on a course with me before, hopefully will appreciate that my style and the style that I'm going to try and use with you all today is not to give you a list of things to do and instruct and tell you what to be doing. It's more really to try and introduce you to some different perspectives. That's because within the role that I have here, the thing that I'm most passionate about is influencing people to get better at whatever it is they want to get better at. It's kind of what I'm about. So as a personal trainer, that was nice and easy because it's quite easily defined. Within this role, it's helping you guys go on and get more expertise, get more clients, whatever it is you're looking to achieve. All right, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. So in this session, we're going to be looking at this whole idea of PT with purpose. And as we start to explore this idea and we start to feel around it and fumble through it, what you're going to start to appreciate is that personal training with purpose has nothing to do with the kit you use, has nothing to do with the techniques or the fancy language that you use. And what you'll appreciate by the end of this session is that to deliver PT with purpose, to be a purposeful PT, you don't need any of that stuff. You've got everything you need already. We're really looking today at how can you organise that into a message that people engage with and that people connect to. Okay? Just a quick sense check. Was that what you were expecting?
Yes.
Yes? Yeah? Alright, verbal responses are good. Okay. Alright, so with that in mind then, the specifics today. What we're actually talking about. We're talking about sales and marketing. So when I say the S word, a lot of PTs tend to get a little bit nervous. Sales isn't something anyone really gets into personal training to do, but if you want to have results with people and you want to have the impact with people that you want, inevitably there's got to be a little bit of it in there somewhere. So let's get into this dirty topic. What is it you think of when someone says to you sales and selling? What are things that come into your head?
Getting pestered.
Sorry?
Being pestered.
Being pestered. Okay, any specific examples?
I don't know. Currys, something like that. Going to Currys and buying a TV, being pestered in there to buy a TV if you're looking at the TVs.
Okay.
Something's on your back straight away. Hassling you.
Okay, good example.
It's going to cost you money.
It's going to cost you money.
Whatever it is.
Okay, alright. May well cost you money.
Wolf on Wall Street.
Say again?
Wolf on Wall Street.
Wolf on Wall Street, okay. I haven't seen the film, but I've read plenty about it, so definitely, all of these things are part of it. I want to show you just a quote from a book that's quite useful, and you can get the name of the book off me later on. But I think this probably gives the cleanest possible definition you could get around sales. To sell well is to convince someone to part with resources, not to deprive them, but to leave them better off at the end. Now, Wolf on Wall Street's an interesting example because they weren't necessarily selling to leave people better off at the end, is my understanding of that plot line. However, each of you sitting in here can connect to this idea of leaving someone better off at the end. You'd all like to be able to say that as a personal trainer, someone is in a better position with you at the end of 3 months' worth of PT by DD than they are at the beginning. Is that a fair comment?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wouldn't be achieving much otherwise. Two particular words in here that really stand out to me that I want to draw your attention to. The first one is resources, because you mentioned costing money. So money would be one resource. What are the other resources that people are going to have to part with when they're personal training? Time. Yeah, absolutely. Personal training isn't going to cost money alone, it's going to cost time. What else is it going to cost?
Commitment.
Yeah, there's going to be an element of commitment, absolutely.
Lifestyle.
Yeah. Lifestyle. There's going to be a bit of shape, sorry.
Sorry.
2 beards and black hair. It's just Alright, yeah, lifestyle. So there's any number of things, as a personal trainer, you're going to be trying to convince them to part with. So the money part of it, the bit that we all feel dirty about, actually is just the very first situation where you're trying to convince someone to part with resources. Okay? Alright, the other word in here that really sticks out for me is convince. So convincing, influencing, trying to drive a behaviour, that's key to what we do. Alright? You can look at this on another level, say we have to convince people to do everything every part of the day. I have to convince my 4-year-old to put a uniform on in time to get to school. Alright? So there are things that I have to do to try and convince her to do that. You will all have examples of things where you're trying to convince people to do. You might be trying to convince your other half to go and see a film. You might be trying to convince your colleagues that actually you want to go to Nando's instead of Gourmet Burger. Right? There are things that you're always going to be trying to convince people of. So this stuff happens every day. But when we put ourselves into a context where we're asking for money, as personal trainers, we feel dirty. We start to feel uncomfortable with that whole scenario. But we do it in any number of other scenarios, where we're trying to get people to part with resource. So before we start to look specifically here at what does a personal trainer do to convince someone to part with their resources, to become a client, to start making those changes, to be better off at the end of it all, I want to look at a couple of other examples from other businesses, because the themes, whilst not specifically applicable, actually the themes are pretty similar. All right? So the first one we're going to look at is I want to start to look at your teeth. Don't worry, I'm not going to come around and start giving you a dental inspection. We've all got teeth, right? Most of us, I'd assume everyone in here has their own set of teeth. Okay. So because we've all got teeth, what do we need to do with our teeth? We need to look after them, right? So I wanted to look at toothpaste. Now this is where things get interesting. When we start to look at how do other businesses convince people to part with their resources. Think about when you're walking through Asda, Sainsbury's, Tesco, wherever it might be, and you've got to get toothpaste. Anyone know how many different ways are there to brush your teeth? That's a question. How many ways are there to brush your teeth? Sounds like a stupid question, right? According to Colgate, there are 47 different ways you can brush your teeth. Because on Asda.com, when you search for Colgate toothpaste, there are 47 different variations of toothpaste. You've got whitening toothpaste. There's the Max Whitening toothpaste. There's Advanced Max Whitening toothpaste. Or, if you really want to give your mouth a deep clean, you can do Advanced Max Whitening with microcrystals. Yeah? Then there's a toothpaste that freshens your breath for 12 hours. Or, if you think you only need to brush your teeth once a day, you can do Freshen Breath for 24 hours. But you might not want to admit that to many people. Right? There's plaque-killing toothpaste. Yeah? There's toothpaste that has different flavours. There's even toothpaste that has a cool stripe through it, because apparently the cool stripe does something in your mouth. All Colgate. All brushes your teeth. So when you're picking your toothpaste, and you've got this huge variation of options in front of you, what do you go for when you're doing your shopping? You look for the red and yellow tag that says there's a deal. Right? Roll back. Yeah? Show me the red and yellow tag. Too many options, I'll take the cheapest one. Yeah? Because I don't really know what microcrystals are supposed to do. But Colgate says it's good. Okay, so let's look at this from how this might be relevant to a personal trainer. Okay. Colgate sell a lot of toothpaste, but they sell a lot of toothpaste in all different variations. Do they get a lot of brand loyalty out of that? They've differentiated one very simple product, toothpaste, there to clean your teeth, so many times over that now the whole kind of marketplace of toothpaste is so diverse that you just go in and look for the cheapest one. So we start to make a decision based on value. That's what convinces us, not all these different features that they're adding to a very basic product. Because that's all it is. Whether it's a cool stripe, whether it's whitening formula, that list I'm going through, if you listen to the things there, it fights plaque, it freshens your breath, it whitens your teeth. Shouldn't all toothpaste do that? Right? So they're adding these features to these products in an effort to try and convince you that this is the one for you. So how does this apply to personal trainers? This idea of differentiation as a convincer. You go on the Skills Active website, so Skills Active Oversea Rex, and you just type for Level 3 Personal Trainer CPD. How many search results do you think you get? 200? Anyone want to up the bid on 200? About 500? 2,185 different items of CPD for personal trainers are available in the UK that are accredited by Skills Active and Reps. 2,185. So I asked you earlier, how many ways are there to brush your teeth? Colgate would say 47. Apparently Skills Active would say there's a couple of different thousand ways you can personal train someone. Fundamentally, you're still getting someone active in the gym to try and improve some aspect of their life. So this differentiation, if this is going to be the thing we try to convince people with, what sort of behaviour is that going to drive? Looking at the Colgate example, what we've learned there. Yeah, all of a sudden people get confused and go, right, what's cheapest? Okay, so let's log that in the memory bank for now. We'll come back and review that. I'd like you to cast your minds back to a time when personal music was confined to a cassette player. Who in here had a Walkman? Don't make me feel old, people. Right, so you'll remember the time when personal music was whatever you could record on your tape and stick in that little thing in your pocket, and that was your experience of personal music. It was the Walkman. And then there was the Discman, which, despite being a technological advance, was even chunkier than a Walkman. Right? Okay. So about 10, 15 years ago, the MP3 came out. Right, MP3 completely turned it on its head. And there were two computer companies that looked at this and said, we could do something here. I'm sure you can all name one of them. Apples, right? Anyone know what that is? Sorry? Can you make out what it is? Yeah. This is the Dell DJ. So you all know the computer company Dell, right? Dell saw this, they saw the MP3 player thing, and they said, this is basically a little hard drive. We're a computer company, we can do this. And they came out with the Dell DJ. Who's owned one of these? Who still owns one of these? Yeah? Okay. So we've got two different products here, two computer companies doing a product that does the same thing. One no one recognises, one at least half the room has owned at some point in their life. So what is it that Apple did to convince us that this was the way we should get digital music that Dell didn't?
Advertising.
Sorry?
Advertising.
Advertising. Okay, so there's something in their message, absolutely. Let's have a look at the press releases. So when they launched these products, you know, the kind of press release, you've got all the kind of the tech geeks of the world's media go along and they want to find out about these products. So Dell's press release, this is a direct copy from it. Dell's press release around the Dell DJ was this: our aim is to supplement our well-established server and home PC business with a new market consisting of products geared towards entertainment in the home. From that statement, what does that tell you about what Dell were trying to achieve with that product?
From their perspective, trying to benefit themselves.
Okay, in what way?
Well, it says our aim is to supplement our well-established server, as
Yeah.
opposed to like what's gonna give you the buyer.
Yeah. So Dell have this captive audience in front of them with this great product that stores just as many songs as this, does a lot of the same things as the iPod, and the first thing they're telling people is what we're after is supplementing our well-established server and home PC business. So basically saying we're going to grow money, we want more money, and this is going to be one of the things we're going to do to do it. All right. Apple's press release for the iPod. Apple are making digital music simpler. The iPod gives you access to 1,000 songs in your pocket. All you need to access this music is your thumb and our innovative scroll wheel to use the device. What's the difference? What are the things that are standing out to you there?
It's all about me.
So it's how you can use it. So direct benefit to you.
Making things simpler.
Making things simpler. So from this, what does this tell you about what Apple are trying to achieve?
Gives you a benefit.
They're giving you a benefit. They're making life easier, right? So their message around the iPod is, we're making it simpler. We're making it so easy, all you need is this, your thumb, and it's there, it's done. We know what message worked, right? History books are written on that. It was all over here. So to convince people of this product, Apple just answered 3 questions. Dell answered the same 3 questions, but they did it in a different order. Apple started off with why you'd want it. and then start talking about how you do it, and then the final what bit is, well, what it is, it's the iPod, go buy it. They'll start off by talking about, we're selling this because we want to grow our market, we want to grow profit and revenue, and then there's not really much else. The press release was pretty chunky, and it took a while before you got into any of the kind of the features or the benefits of the product. So if we're looking at what's convincing people here, what's convincing people is something that's more engaging. It's not about the product, it's about the value that drove the creation of the product. Okay? So if we look at those three questions, that why, how and what, from this here, we can ascertain that Apple's driving value is they want to make things simple. When they've created a product, simplicity is what they're after. How do they do that? They innovate technology. And they make technology intuitive. Touchscreen, scroll wheels for thumbs. What do? They make electronic goods. You look at Dell, what do? We sell computer stuff. That's where they're starting their message from. So straight away, you feel like you've got that person in curries on your shoulder trying to pester you into buying something. This is a message that you connect with because there's something in there that you think, that's a value that I can agree with. There's a purpose to this product that is compatible with me as an individual. There's a very good reason why people are prepared to camp outside Apple shops 2 days in advance of them releasing a product, so they're at the front of the line to get the new iPhone, the new iPad, all that sort of stuff. That's because they're bought into why Apple do what they do, not what they do. All right? You following? Yeah. Okay. All right. So if we come back to this original question of how do personal trainers convince, we start to arrive at this thing where we're saying, in order to convince people, we need to make them aware of why we do what we do. And not spend so much time talking about what we do, personal training, yeah, or how we do it, kettlebells, Viper, HIIT. We talk about how we do it, we're falling into the Colgate trap. We talk about what we do, we're falling into the Dell trap. We start talking about why we do it first, and make people aware of what it is that drives us as a personal trainer, then all of a sudden the message that you put out there to people becomes significantly more engaging and compelling. Okay. Who's done one of the brand workshops so far? For the love of life? Not too many people. So Nuffield Health, as a company, let's look at this as a case study, it's another example for you. Many years ago, a lot of our marketing was about health MOT. Come to Nuffield Health and you get a health MOT. Before we were Nuffield Health, we were Cannons, we'd make a big deal out of having power plate in our gyms. Come to a Cannons gym and you get a power plate workout. And there's a pool, and there's a swimming pool, which is the pool, and there's a studio timetable. And we were talking about how we do what we do, or we were talking about what we do, it's the health MOT. We had a bit of a changeover in marketing, and someone came in with a different approach. They said, we're going to start talking about why we do what we do before we start telling people how and what. We're going to answer that question first and foremost. So those of you that have done this workshop will know that Nuffield Health's why is that we're passionate about helping people to live a full and happy life, and that we believe health is essential to that. So if we improve people's health, we know they have a longer, fuller life. How do we do that? As a company, we make sure that we don't make decisions that put commercial gain above people's clinical needs. As a company, we believe that if we're straight with people, and if we don't believe in nonsense, and we stick to an evidence base, we give people the right advice. As a company, we believe that if we take care of the small stuff and listen to people to understand them, and then put them in front of an expert like one of you guys, that will help people get healthier and enjoy life to the full. So what is it Nuffield Health does? We do complete health, we run gyms, we run hospitals, we do health assessments, physio clinics, that's what we do. If you look at that sequence there, slightly more compelling, slightly more rousing, than if you look at it in reverse. If you listen to it, why, how, what, it feels like something you can get on board with. You go the other direction, what do we do? And then work up from there. By the time you get here, you've had enough. Okay. Anyone familiar with a guy called the Body Coach? Yeah? Fair few followers, right? He's a PT with purpose, from my perspective. Because his why is that he wants to show people that it doesn't have to be a long, onerous process. And it shouldn't take a lot of time. How does he do it? He does a shitload of videos showing people how they can prepare a healthy, nutritious, balanced meal in 15 minutes or less. What does he do? He does a 90-day body transformation plan if you want to do it online. It's a slicker message than if he starts with a 90-day body plan and then works backwards. Okay. Just as a quick check in the room, thoughts at the moment? Is this agreeable? Is this making sense to you? Is it clicking in some way? Yeah? Okay, alright. That's good to know. Because what we're going to do next is we're going to work through a series of activities that are going to help you, first of all, identify as a PT, what are my core values? What are the things that get me out of bed and make me passionate about being a personal trainer? So we're going to put you in touch with your why, your purpose, your cause, your belief, whatever it might be. And then we're going to work through the other stuff. And the key to this is for you guys to be able to take a step back, now you're not on your gym floor, and take this time to be able to reflect and say, right, if this is my purpose, is that reflected in how I deliver PT? Is everything I deliver as a personal trainer true to this? Alright? And then finally, when we start to look at what, the what writes itself when we do why and how. Okay, I feel like I've given you enough time to kind of get acquainted and do the formalities. So the first thing we're going to look at then is we need to answer this question, why? And this isn't why would someone train with you, this is why do you do it? This is why you do it. This is not about them, this is your opportunity to be a little bit selfish and say, why do I do what I do? Why didn't I go and sell phones and earn £5 grand a year more? Because if it was about the money, that's what you could have done. Yeah? So why do you do it? And it's a more complex question than this, okay? A couple of example questions that might help you with this. What's important to you about being a PT? These are the sorts of questions that are going to start to put you in touch with what it is that gets you out of bed in the morning. What do you get from being a PT? What do you actually get from being a PT? And the answer to that question isn't, I like when my clients get results. No, you. Not your clients getting results. What do you get from that process? What do you find most satisfying about being a personal trainer? All right? Just start to have a fairly informal conversation around that. You don't have to kind of sit there and quiz each other like it's an exam, but just start to stage your discussion off of these 4 key questions and then see where it takes you. What are the things that start to